Well, welcome back to Harmonize Your Life Conversations on Self-Care for Women of Color podcast with your host, Dr. Toni G. Alvarado. I am so glad to have you back in the podcast studio with us on today as we are continuing in the month of October. We are in our October series, season 8, and our October series where we are talking to survivors of domestic violence and breast cancer. And in some case, some of these women are survivors of both. And so it has been my joy to be able to facilitate these conversations, these life changing conversations on self care, health, wellness, mental health, and holistic living, fitness, fun, fellowship, all the things that make for us having a harmonious life. Thus, Harmonize Your Life Conversations on Self Care for Women of Color. Listen, I want you to stay with us. We have a very special guest that's with us this week in the podcast studio, and you will not want to miss this conversation. We'll be right back right after this. Well, I'm excited because I have someone in the podcast studio with me today. I'm glad that she was able to stop by. Actually, she's at my home and we're having a cup of tea together. And so we're in different spaces in my home. That's right. But I am so excited about our guest on today. Sarah Michelle is a native of Southeast Washington, D.C. So she's a Washingtonian, all right? And she launched her full-scale global boutique handbags you like in 2001, which is known as Fashion Impact by Handbags You Like. Her company provides a plethora of services, including personal styling, wardrobe consultation, business and development, event showcasing, fashion show coordination, and a variety of finds and personal shopping for both men and women. In 2016, Sarah launched her nonprofit organization, the Impact Experience, where she now serves as executive director and is centered on helping women and families that have been marginalized by domestic abuse, homelessness, human trafficking, and other life-changing situations. Her mission is to share with women that God loves them and that they are beautiful inside and out. Through her design acumen, she will provide a full makeover head to toe. And this experience gives women the confidence and allow them to see the beauty that is within. As the visionary, Sarah began the Impact Experience to provide a platform to celebrate women who have overcome and are overcoming tumultuous relationships and circumstances that directly affect the mental and physical well-being. The Impact Experience, since its inception, has worked to build and create more affordable housing options for those in need and the country through real estate investment and development company Realty You Like. Sarah has received numerous awards and proclamations from the 42nd President of the United States, Bill Clinton, 49th Vice President of the United States, Kamala Harris, U.S. Representative Frederica Wilson, Washington, D.C. Mayor Sharon Pratt Kelly, Houston, Texas Mayor Sylvester Turner, Washington, D.C. Council Member Kevin P. Chavez, and New Orleans Councilwoman Cindy Nugent District E, and Community Achievement Award from Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee, Lifetime Achievement Award from Joe Biden, just to name a few. And in March 2022, Sarah was awarded an honorary doctorate in humanities from Leaders Esteem Christian University. She resides in Atlanta, Georgia, with her husband, with her husband Demetrius Herring, and they have three beautiful young adult children. I invited Sarah on today because Sarah is currently going through treatment for breast cancer, and she is beating it. She is thriving, and she is doing a wonderful work. And she's kind of shifted a little bit right now, not doing as much with the impact experience because she's in treatment, currently in treatment. But she has a powerful message for women, and she's sharing her story all over the country. And I had to bring her and ask her to come in this month in the Harmonize Your Life podcast and have her share her story and the wisdom and insights that she is gaining in her healing journey. Sarah, welcome to the Harmonize Your Life podcast.
Thank you so very much, Dr. Toni. I'm so grateful for your consideration, the warm invitation, and even the love that I feel here in your personal space. So definitely thank you. The cup of tea is such a nice touch. It brings about a feeling of elegance, gentleness, kindness, and warmth that I think each woman needs to be. We need to be a little bit more warm and more gentle and more softer with ourselves, especially when we're meandering through life challenges and changes. Amen. So
Yeah.
thank you for having me. I'm so grateful to be here.
You know, I always say a cup of tea is like a warm hug, like a warm blanket. You know, it's just
Yes,
you can't go wrong with a cup of tea. And I am
yes.
a tea connoisseur, and today we are drinking the Harmony tea blend, the tea blend that I designed with my herbalist. And so if you're interested in being in getting some of that tea, you can go to my website, drtonialvarado.com, and purchase your Harmony tea blend and Harmony tea cup, Harmony oil blend, all of that. Of which, Sarah, before you leave today, I'm going to gift you with a bag of tea, a cup, and the Harmony oil blend, just because I just want to love on you right now while you're going through your treatment.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. What you just said is so important. And it's not because it's me that's on the receiving end of what you just said, but what you just did is so critical. I feel like when we realize people are in a space where they really could use just some extra dose of kindness, just an extra dose of gentleness, it's okay to just do that. It's okay to just be that without having to feel like you got to make them ask you, right?
Yeah.
Like if you see that someone is going through their get through, give them a hug, a random act of kindness, pay for the coffee before they get to pay for it, pay for the tea, right? Offer to pump the gas, just those random acts of kindness. You never know how that can bring about healing to someone's space and to someone's environment. Yes.
Wow, 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 wow. Wow. Well, will you share with us some of your story, what you're going through right now,
Yes.
um, in your journey, your
Yes.
healing
Um,
journey?
yes, yes. And so I'll start here. July of 2021, I was asked to share at this event that was coming to Atlanta. And I was sharing with Dr. Toni on yesterday, when I was walking up to the platform, the stage to share some words, I really didn't have anything to say, right? And so I was like, okay, God, like I'm going up here now. Like, what do you want me to say? But he made it clear that me going to the event was an assignment, right? So it wasn't like I was out of place. It was just that I was being taught a greater lesson of waiting on him. He'll
Okay.
speak when it pleases him to speak, right? We don't get to rush God. And so I'm on my way to the stage, and the Lord simply said to me, He said, Sarah, ask them a question. And I said, yes, Lord, what is the question? And He said, ask them, how deep does your yes run? And literally, as soon as He said it, it ricocheted all through me. And I promise you, I don't consider myself a preacher. I've been told that I am for many years, but I don't consider myself a preacher, is what I'm saying. But when I tell you the way in which that word moved through me, it made it even the more clear that when you know you hear from God clearly, when you know that He speaks to you clearly, many times, even the message that He'll have you to share with another, it should ricochet and it should do something to the receiver first before it's then given out. And that can be a matter of split seconds.
Yeah.
And so, literally, as he's having me to ask the question, the word itself began to search the inside of me, right? So it began to work because I received it unto myself. So I go on and I share this word, and they had given us 7 minutes to speak. I wasn't even up there 4 minutes because once he's done, I'm done, right? And so as I'm stepping down off the stage, however, the Lord said three things to me. The Holy Spirit, He said, "You've got next." And then He said ascension. And then I saw ascension go across my head like a rainbow, capital ASCENSION.
Mm-hmm.
And then He said a test is coming. Those were the three things He said. As I'm stepping down off stage, I feel this overwhelming sense, and it was almost like there was a weight to what it was that I was feeling. Not heavy in the sense of bad, but heavy in the sense of an understanding that there was a shift that had taken place just that quickly. And so I proceed to go to the restroom to really just gather myself. And I knew that what took place, I would never be the same again.
Okay.
Okay, so then in a matter of about a week and a half, I was going to be traveling to DC. I had an event to showcase for in DC. Prior to that, I had been awakened in the night 2 times with my left breast feeling like it was on fire. Not sore, not tender, but it was feeling like it was literally on fire. And
Wow.
so I was awakened to that sensation. I would put some petroleum jelly or something on it just to soothe it. I had a conversation, reached out to my primary care physician. The first time it happened, she said it could be hormones, but that shouldn't be happening. If it happens again, we need to see you in the office. So when I was planning to go to DC, I said, well, after this showcase, my next stop is my primary care physician's office. I go in, I insisted they check 2 areas of my body. They said they could only check one. I said, no, it has to be both because both are equally as important. Why are you saying that, Sarah? I'm saying that because I want more of us to operate in self advocacy. No one knows your body better than you. No
Right.
one knows when something is off in your body better than you. Don't let people make you believe that it's all in your head or it's all in your mind or it's just your emotions. No, I believe that women have this extra thing called their God conscious. Some people call it women's intuition, but I believe that there is something in the subconscious that God has given women that's just a little extra sauce where you pick up on what the normal person may not pick up on. I mean, by golly, George, we do carry life in this that we call a womb. So wouldn't you think that that same womb would have a certain inclination to things, possibly sometimes before they happen, or you can kind of feel something materializing, or you can feel something going on behind the scenes. And
Right.
so I wouldn't drop it. I didn't let it go. I said, no, you got to check both. Something is off. Something is off. I'm not feeling well. I haven't been feeling well. I've been requesting all type of batteries of testing. You all keep telling me that it's one thing, but I'm like, okay, well, if you're saying that we treating that, then it's still something else going on. Well, little did I know after I insisted they did the examination on both areas. Let me just say it's the feminine areas, right? Both of those areas, I insisted that they check out. When they checked my left breast, the medical director said he did feel something in the left breast, so he was giving me a referral so that I could go get another mammogram and another ultrasound. I did that. The ultrasound and the mammogram showed up to be abnormal. And then they came in, the doctor came in, and I mean, they set me in a room where it was like tissue, and they was just preparing it for it to be a showdown with crying, right? And
Yeah.
so I said, all right. So it was later in the afternoon, and the doctor comes in. He was so kind, but you could tell he was just so hurt because he didn't want to deliver the news, right? He said, I'm so sorry, Ms. Ward. He said, but it looks like cancer. And he said, if it wasn't so late in the day, we would want to do a biopsy now. And so, literally, in that moment, you guys, I had a choice. I could either sulk in the information or I could stand to attention in the moment, right? And so I said, okay, doctor. I mean, literally bounce back just like that. Okay, doc, what do we need to do next? He said, well, we need to schedule you for a biopsy. Now, up until that point, it was like, okay, let's just move with it. But at some point, when that doctor left out that room, I sat there with the reality of all of what I'm hearing, what I'm feeling, what I've been sensing in my body, knowing that something has been off. And it was a crescendo moment. Is this what I've been feeling? And I've just been told that it's something else. And so we scheduled the biopsy. We have the biopsy. You're supposed to get the results in like 3 days. It literally was like a week, maybe almost like a week and a half that passed. So, of course, my tribe, my friends, my circle
Yeah.
of support and love and prayer, they was all making it real deep. Well, no news is good news. Amen. So listen, if we ain't heard back from the doctor, that gotta be good news. Well, when you hear from God and when you really have a prayer life, you can't just go along with the get along, right?
Yeah.
You gotta tap in so that you're clear. Right? You can't just go on man's words. That's even friends. That's even loved ones. God, what would you have to say about this situation?
Yeah.
And he said, Sarah, he said, come, let me talk to you. I said, okay. And it was a real sobering moment, if you will, right? Because folk make it deep, the blood of Jesus, and it's not gonna be. And he said, Sarah, this is what they're going to say when they call you back. They're going to say it's cancer. And I said, well, God, all this stuff on my plate, you've given me more and more to do. I don't have time to deal with cancer right now. I don't have time to deal with it. I just need you to remove this. Like, can you just make this go away? He said, Sarah, partner with me. Partner with me on this. It's some things I need to show you. And when I tell you, Dr. Toni, if God allows it, and our it can be different, but if he allows it, then it has purpose.
Oh, say that again.
Yeah. If God, I'm talking about Elohim. I'm not talking about false. I'm talking about the one true and if he allows it, then it has purpose.
Oh my
And
God.
he said, Sarah, partner with me on this. Again, something just ricocheted all through me because this is a holy God saying, Sarah, come into covenant with me concerning this. I know what it feels like. I know what it sounds like. I know what you're even possibly feeling in the form of fear. But trust me, put your trust in me, even in this. Can we do that? Can we do that? And so a part of how deep does your yes run is it's real easy to tell God yes when everything is smooth sailing and the pastures are green and money is flowing and you getting invited all across the globe to speak here, speak there, and hey, everything is looking well. Your health is in tip-top shape. But what happens should you endure a Job experience? And the Lord himself makes you to know that it's not him punishing you, but it's him pruning you. And it's him preparing you for your next season. Because remember, there was 3 things he said to me, God from Zion. He said, you got next. He said ascension. And he said a test was coming. In order to go up, you must go down.
Wow.
And so
you, oh my Lord, you don't realize you are preaching up in here today. You're preaching. Oh my goodness.
it's
Sarah,
what he's given me. It's what he has given me.
let me ask you this. So what was your first thought when you heard the doctor say the word cancer? I mean, nobody wants to hear that word. When we go to the doctor, nobody wants to hear cancer anywhere in our body.
Yes. Let's be clear. Humanity, it felt like a sucker punch. humanity, my human nature, it felt like a straight sucker punch. Like, what? Like, where did this, like, how? Like, why? Like, but spiritually, because what I realized is I can't let this moment last but for so long. Like, feel what you need to feel in the moment, Sarah, yes. But quickly I had to pivot. And I'm not saying that God is not gracious and kind enough to allow us
Yeah,
moments,
yeah,
but you
yeah.
gotta know when you gotta pivot in that moment, because there's a time frame by which if you don't pivot quick enough, you'll drown in the emotion of the moment, and it'll be way too difficult to rebound from that place, right?
Okay.
And
Okay.
so feel the emotion, have the human response and even the human reaction. But I believe Jesus in the Garden of Gethsemane was an amazing example for us, right? Jesus came down from glory with the assignment to die. He knew when he was coming down from the Father that he was coming to earth to die. Like, that was no trick, that was no surprise. Him even being clear about the assignment in the Garden of Gethsemane, his human response was, because he felt the weight of the assignment in the moment. It's real easy to be like, yes, Lord, when you're not feeling the real weight of that thing, like when it's
Mhm,
when it's
mhm,
right
mhm,
before you,
mhm.
and it's literally time for you to pay the cost.
Yeah.
And so Jesus showed us in the Garden of Gethsemane that it is not unnatural for you to have a human emotion and a natural response. What we cannot do as a body of believers, right? Those who say we are washed in the blood of the Lamb, we cannot drown in the emotion of that moment. So Jesus says to the Father, Lord, if it be thy will, let this cup pass. Well, that's strange, because Jesus already knew what the will of the Father was, because he came down as
Yeah.
an agreement to make, good for our sins. Amen. The one who did no wrong, though. Okay.
Right, right,
And
right.
so,
Mhm.
him understanding that it was just a moment, he said, nevertheless. That's where the pivot came in. The nevertheless is the pivotal moment. Nevertheless,
Yeah,
not
yeah,
my
yeah.
will, but thine will be done. Meaning, I bring my flesh under subjection to the obedience of Christ in the moment of requirement. So you're saying yes when it's your flesh that's comfortable. That doesn't have as much weight as to when you're looking at your crossroad and when you're looking at the Golgotha moment, that you say, God, even though I'm feeling pain rocking all through my body, nevertheless,
Wow.
not what I want, but what you want. Not what I feel, but what you require. Because guess what? When you sacrifice for God, you can never go bankrupt, even
Wow.
if it looks
Wow.
like you're losing in the moment. And so,
Girl, you shifted into a whole new gear. I just watched you transform. Oh my Lord.
that's what he's been doing for me, Dr. Toni. When I tell you, he said, yes, Sarah. He said, so have the human emotion. He said, don't let anyone make you feel like you got to be super deep. You got to make this super religious. No, no, no. Have your moments. Feel what you need to feel. He said, but you are not allowed to drown in the emotion of the moment. Now, when the Lord gives you those kind of words, that means he's already empowered you to pivot. So if you choose to drown in the emotion of the moment, realize that's a choice. But if he tells you when this happened, do this, once he speaks the word, the grace to carry out the word is accompanied, right? And
Wow.
so,
Wow.
have I felt
So you,
things?
yeah,
Go
that's
ahead.
what. So have you had moments of depression or
Hey, all of it. Run it down. Run it down. We can do a check
anger,
box. We can do a checklist.
depression,
All of it.
fear,
All of it.
loneliness,
All of it.
isolation? Yeah.
Yeah, all of it. Anguish.
Yeah.
Second guessing yourself. Am I tripping? Lord, did I really hear you, or is it my flesh? Like, is this me making it up? And guess what he'll do? Send someone who I ain't talked to in months, from another country in a whole nother region to speak a word. They wouldn't have a clue as to what I've been saying to the Lord. They wouldn't have had a clue as to what I've been saying internally. And he keeps reinforcing what it is that he said to me. Even if he doesn't repeat it, once has he spoken it, twice have we heard it. Power belongs to God. So even when I'm feeling a little faint in my conviction or in my stance, or I'm getting a little wobbly, he allows something to come to reinforce my stance. And so does that make me heroic? Absolutely not. It just means that my confidence, I've chosen to keep my confidence in God, because it's only God that's carrying me through this. Sarah could not do this on my own. I would prefer to not do this. Let's be clear.
Okay. Okay.
Yes.
So Sarah, you've had you're handling the emotional and mental stress of the diagnosis.
Yes.
Talk to us about you've decided to go the natural route rather than the non-conventional route.
Yes.
Why is that? And share some of the natural options or treatments that you are going through.
Thank you. When the Lord told me what they were going to say, he told me that he would give me instruction as to what my next step was. He said, you don't have to make a fast decision. Just be still and gather yourself, right? Because before you make any kind of major decision, especially concerning your health, you need to be in all agreement. You don't need to be all over the place, because you can easily get pulled. You need all of your energy. Your immune system needs that full support.
Mm-hmm.
And so whenever someone mentioned chemo and or radiation to me, nothing in me was an opening. There was no opening in me for it. And ever since I was a little girl, I can just sense when the Lord would have me to move forward with something by me having this opening, this access granted in the spirit, if it kind of makes sense. And so when I began to really pray and ask the Lord, why was I not feeling chemo and radiation? He began to talk to me, Dr. Toni, and he said, Sarah, you got to look at this on the cellular level. You got to go down to the molecular level, not surface, but down to the root matter, down to the root cause. This is beyond a cancer diagnosis. He said, once you get down to the cellular level, you can then find there what is not functioning properly so that it can be adequately prepared and repaired, and it can be adequately restored back to its original state. He said, what you've been feeling in your body, because my body had been feeling off since 2020. And I kept asking my doctors, run tests, something's wrong. I'm waking up feeling tired, like I just slept a full night, and I'm waking up exhausted. I felt like I was burning a candle at all four ends, not just all two ends. And so the culmination of that, once the diagnosis came, I couldn't quite imagine how, if my immune system is already compromised, why would it make sense? This is a personal position, a personal decision. Why would it make sense for me to put chemicals and toxins on top of a compromised immune system? This is no conversation with a doctor. This is just me sitting. This is me talking with the Lord and me just trying to make sense of what it is that I have been feeling in my body already. So basically, if I've been feeling an unraveling in my body internally, when you feel something, say something, then how do we reverse the process that I've been feeling going on? So what that made sense to me was, how do I regenerate my insides? And so the Lord began to wake me up between 1 a.m. and 4 a.m. And he told me to speak to my cells, speak to my organs, speak to the tissues, speak to my digestive system. I mean, he gave me all the systems on the inside. So after doing that for a few weeks, I said, well, Lord, what is this? What is this? What is this that you're having me to do? He said, it's called cell regeneration. I said, cell regeneration? He said, yes. He said, if you regenerate the cells down to the molecular level, he said the body will begin to repair itself. And so I began to research that, like cell regeneration. What does that look like? There's certain foods, there's certain herbs, there's certain parts of the world, there's certain waters, there's certain grains, there's certain protein. Oh my goodness, that's all promoting cell regeneration. Then I was let in on a real good secret, Dr. Toni, from my natural health coach on the West Coast. She said that basically the body is made so brilliant that one system communicates with another system, and even your body requiring rest the way it does causes certain parts of your system internally to turn on to provide the body the nutrients and the processing that it needs for daily repair. So literally, when you shut down on a daily basis, you have to get to a certain level of sleep. So not
Right.
just kind of no quick 10-15 minute nap,
Right.
a subconscious level of sleep. Your
For your
body
body
begins to
to
go in
repair.
repair mode. So
Mhm.
Dr. Toni, that brought me to a point of repentance because I realized I had been reckless with my body. I realized I had been treating my body worse than a machine. We at least give a machine a break and turn it off for it to reboot, for it to recharge, for it to repair,
Talk about
for it to
that,
get
girl.
re-energized, but we don't do that with our bodies. And so the Lord began to show me how certain things that I had been doing and making it a part of my normal lifestyle was actually me working against the natural law of things. And so I had to ask him to give me clear direction to correct my wrongs, to
Okay.
right my wrongs. And that is what he has titled The Healing Journey.
Okay. The healing journey. Wow. So you're working with a natural health coach or a natural doctor.
Yes, I have a natural health coach, a natural health coach on the East Coast and the West Coast, and I love it because they complement each other so well, and it also helps to kind of bring into harmony and sometimes even me to get further articulation concerning certain downloads and things that the Lord has dropped in my hearing. And I'm like, okay, so this is what I heard. This is what I understand it to be. Can you maybe expound upon it? And so they've done that amazingly well. You asked me about treatments thus far. I have gone to Montego Bay, Jamaica for some herbal treatments. I've gone to Honduras to Dr. Sabi's Usha Village for natural treatment. And I just yesterday finished up the program at Wildwood Lifestyle Center that's here in Georgia. It's about 2 hours from Atlanta. And so the next round that I would love to do, I would love to go to Hope for Cancer, which is in Tijuana, Mexico. And that is because they have the same natural practices that I've already received. The greater benefit from going to a place like Hope for Cancer is it's non-toxic, it's no chemicals, but they treat the cancer directly with laser. So you're getting right to it. And so, yeah, with herbs, with rest, with air, with walking, with exercise, with love, with surrounding yourself with those who absolutely love you, who support your decisioning and things of that nature. That is what you need as a part of your tribe check going through what I would call a healing journey. So it may not be cancer, it may be divorce, it may be the loss of a child, because listen, we all need to be healed from something. And so I just realized that through God's grace and through his mercy, he allowed the cancer diagnosis to stop me in my tracks and say, hey, you got to fix this. You got to repair this before your next season comes. You got to get these things in order. So that's his love, that's his grace. And it reminded me with a resounding loud voice that stress is non-negotiable.
Yeah.
Stress is non-negotiable. I'm going to say it again. Stress is non-negotiable. We are no longer going to make provision for stress.
We're not going to accommodate stress.
We're not going to accommodate stress. We're not going to make stress comfortable. Oh, here you go, stress. Let me give you this pillow. Here, let me make you some tea. Like it's going to, like we just going to stay together. No, we don't go together. We're going to divorce stress today. That's what we're going to do. We're going to divorce stress today because guess what I realized? Stress was a major factor
Mm-hmm.
of this disease being allowed to be spoken into my health journey, right? But guess what? Just like we walked into it, guess what we're gonna do? Walk right
Walk
on
right
out of it with the
out.
help of the Lord.
Now, are you with the natural coach? Are you going back to your doctor to get testing to see
Yes.
where you are and all of that? So you're working in tandem,
Yeah, because we're gonna use wisdom, right? That's what we're gonna do. We're
right?
gonna use wisdom, right? We're not gonna be foolish, right? And so yes, so I've been on sabbatical. So after being in business for 21 plus years, um, I realized I had never really taken a full break from business, meaning handling nothing at all. And it's
Mhm.
okay to do that. That is really, it's really okay to unplug. The world is not going to stop.
Yeah,
Nobody's house is going to catch fire. You understand? It's okay for
yeah,
you to pull away and the people will be fine. I promise
yeah.
you, till you come back. And so
Mhm.
I've stepped away fully from everything, initially from July 8th through October the 8th. I have another PET scan scheduled. Another PET scan is scheduled for October the 20th.
Mhm.
Once we see what those numbers are looking like and what that scan is looking like, I have already opened my will and my decisioning up to the Lord that should my margins not be clear, I will continue the current journey until January the 8th, right? So that 3 month sabbatical is now going to be extended out to a 6 month sabbatical because repeat after me, I am worth it.
Because I am worth it.
Yeah,
Yes.
because I am worth it, right? It's no need in me thrusting myself back into the same environment with the same circumstance, expecting a different result. So once my margins are all clear, and I hear them good doctors say from all their good scans, cancer free, we see no sign of it. And God did promise me a documented miracle. So it's going to happen. It's just about when. But I fully
Yeah.
trust Him to bring it about. So, yes, that's the plan of action. I'll go to my medical professionals October the 20th. They'll do the PET scan, they'll call me back, give me the results, and we'll go from there. I've been on a plant based diet on my sabbatical. Next week, I'm going to shift it up to the next gear of just straight alkaline.
Mhm.
Because from my research, what I understand is cancer cannot live in a fully alkaline environment.
Exactly.
Okay. And
Mm.
so many things that are coming together, but we must do what's best for our health and our well being. And then we can be these other things to everyone
Wow.
else.
Wow. Wow. Well, that leads me to my next question, what you just said. We must do our best and be our best in our well-being and our health and wellness. What is your message to women now? You had a message before the cancer diagnosis. But I have a feeling your message has gotten a little deeper. I mean, I watched you transform right here in front of my eyes. So what's your message now, Sarah? What is your message to women? How has the cancer diagnosis changed your message?
It has made, I'm going to, it's a two-part answer, if that's okay. I am clear, even more clear about my purpose. And my purpose is to ignite. That's my purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the way in which that ignition or that igniting will take place will look different depending on where people are in their lives and in their journeys. But if you feel something, woman, if you feel something, I need you to say something. That's mentally, that's emotionally, that's spiritually, that's physically. I need you to trust your gut more.
Mm-hmm.
And when you do that, you will find yourself being more authentic in the moment instead of convincing yourself that you're overreacting or, oh, I'm making this too big of a deal. Listen, you have to have more grace with yourself so that you can show up better in
Wow.
your environment, with your family, with your community. I think about the times, Dr. Toni, that I suppressed my voice. I think
Mhm.
about the times that I suppressed my. I'm talking about that gut.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
was just, it was that gut that was telling me, nah, you know what I mean? And
Mhm.
I pressed anyhow. It's literally okay for you to not go into overdrive every day. It's literally okay for you to not expend all these hours outside of what you need to do to take care of your mental and your physical. It's okay for you to not exhaust that 7 days of the week.
Mm.
When do you get rest? When do you recharge? When do you say, you know what, this is what is going to make me happy, even if it's you throwing your feet up on your recliner with your cup of tea, huh? And looking at your favorite show. It is okay to step away and be replenished. I do not want another woman to have to run her immune system down to the ground and have to hear a diagnosis before she realizes she's beyond full capacity.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
There's no award for overworked woman of the year. I
No,
promise you, there's no award for that. There's
there
no
is
cake for
none.
that.
There is none. No, no.
There is none. We all have the same 24 hours in the day.
That
And
is
I
correct.
want us to start acknowledging that. And
Yeah,
I want us to start respecting that.
yeah, yeah.
Respect the laws that God has
The
given us
natural laws. Yes.
to obey, subdue, dominate. All of we can do all of that and still have a well balanced life.
Yeah, yeah,
That's my message now. Are
yeah.
you balanced? Yes, you're doing all of that, but are you balanced?
Yeah, and I call it harmony. And are you obeying God's law of rest?
Of
God's
rest.
law of Sabbath,
Yes.
God's law of work and rest, the rhythm,
Yes.
the natural rhythm.
Yes.
Everything in nature obeys this natural rhythm, but us, but man,
But us.
but
And
humanity.
we wonder why we take the hit.
Mhm.
We literally take the hit. Do you know most disease is brought on because the body begins to work against itself
Yeah.
because you've thrown it off track, you've thrown it off rhythm.
Mhm, mhm.
I mean, literally, most
Yeah.
it's very interesting. And so nutrition is important.
Yeah.
Trusting in God is important because you can do all these things, but if you're not trusting in God, that's the glue, right?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
the glue.
Yeah.
Exercise is important. Dr. Toni, do you know that before I went to the last treatment facility, I never exercised. Never. I mean, I'm not saying that proudly, but it just wasn't a part of my daily routine.
Mhm,
And don't you know that before leaving that facility, I was officially taken off of my blood pressure medication.
mhm.
I got up to walking 17,000 steps a day
I'm
and
sorry.
pain management with natural herbs and remedies and things of that nature because I didn't want to just become a medicine cabinet.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You
That's
know, so
that's
just getting back into the oil of life, the rhythm and the precision of life. Like find your rhythm and stay there.
mm,
Find your rhythm, woman. There's a rhythm to every woman, and I'm not going to compare it to my sister's rhythm. I'm not going to compare it to my auntie's rhythm. No, it's a rhythm for Sarah. It's a rhythm from Dr. Toni. And guess what? Those who flow at that same frequency, which is what I call to vibrate higher, you all will attract to one another. Then that'll be the tribe check, and then you all will flow to your own rhythm together. Make movements and make impact and bring people together and make a difference and shift communities and shift worlds and shift systems. That's how we do it. But we won't get it done until we realize we got to get us in order first.
wow. Sarah, I tell you, you have blessed me. Just oh, I mean, you have blessed me. Just hearing your story, just watching how I'm just watching you and how God is using you in the midst of this right now. You are literally right now. I heard you say it the other day on social media. I saw a post you made on Facebook and you said, I am literally in the fight of my life.
Yes,
But you also said, but I'm winning.
I'm winning.
I'm winning.
Yes.
And I am so proud of you. I love that picture of you with the boxing gloves on.
Listen, fight like a girl.
Yeah, fight like a girl. I mean, you doing it. Well, you all, I know that Sarah Michelle's story, her testimony, her her energy, her fight is inspiring each and every one of you. I want to let them know how they can follow you. Sarah Michelle, this is Sarah Michelle of Sarah Michelle Speaks, and y'all can see why she's speaking, right? Okay. Today we're talking to her about surviving breast cancer, and you can follow her on Facebook at Sarah Michelle. Are you on Instagram, Sarah?
I am the impact experience. My business page was hacked. Handbags you like, that was the original page that we had for the fashion business.
Okay, so you're on Instagram at the Impact Experience.
Experience, yes. THEIMPACT
Mhm.
experience. Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
I want to put that on the screen for those that are watching us on YouTube, for those that are listening to us. If you're not on YouTube, y'all know I'm going to tell you to do this. If you've
Yes,
not already subscribed to my YouTube channel, go to my YouTube channel at Dr. Toni, uh, at Dr. Toni G. Alvarado on YouTube, and subscribe so you can watch this podcast episode. You can listen as well on Anchor. We're on Anchor. We're on um, Apple. We're on Google, Spotify. So a lot of my listeners, a lot of my audience, podcast community, listen while they're walking or working out or cooking, cleaning or
yes,
whatever. We like to just pop it in and listen, and those things are good. We want you to do both. But also, if you're not on YouTube, I'm really, really, really wanting to get the YouTube numbers up and the analytics,
yes,
so that way information, inspiration, this type of life saving, life changing, life altering information and conversations can come right to where people are, right to where you are. When you subscribe to the YouTube channel, you allow our analytics to go up. And we're more easily and readily accessible when people do Google searches, when they want to hear conversations around self-care, health, wellness, fitness, breast cancer, domestic violence,
yes,
prevention, things of that nature, all the things that we talk about on the Harmonize Your Life podcast. And so when you subscribe to our YouTube channel, you help us with that. And so please, ma'am, please, sir, if you're listening to us or watching us and you've not subscribed to the YouTube channel, do so and encourage somebody else to do so as well. You can go to my website at drtonialvarado.com, where you can also subscribe to the YouTube channel there. You can also subscribe to the audio versions of the podcast on Anchor. You can do that as well. Women, I want you to join the Harmonize Your Life Women's Self-Care Network. If you're listening to us, you're watching us, and you're not a member of our self-care network, I want you, please, to go on and sign up to be a member of this self-care network. For less than what it costs to purchase a Starbucks cup of coffee, you can be a member of this network and receive all type of information, fellowship, accountability, and a sisterhood of women who are not only concerned about self-care, health, and wellness for themselves, but also for their community. We have so much fun and such a sisterhood and a bond in the self-care network that I lead with women all over the country. Sarah, I have women all over the country that are part of this self-care network, and we meet together every month. I may have to bring you into tea time. I'm gonna bring you into tea time with Dr. Toni. We meet
yes,
together in tea time with Dr. Toni, and I'm telling you, it is a wonderful time. We have a wonderful time in the fellowshipping with one another. We have real grown women conversations in tea time with Dr. Toni. And those, when you're a member of the Self Care Network, you automatically get the link to come into tea time once a month, every fourth Sunday at 7
yes,
p.m. Eastern Standard Time for a tea time with Dr. Toni Alvarado. Again, we are with Sarah Michelle of Sarah Michelle Speaks. Follow her on Facebook. Follow her on Instagram at The Impact Experience. Go to her website at sarahmichelle.com. and just come and be a part. Now, Sarah, you mentioned something to me that I want to share with the group because everybody knows that having any type of diagnosis, and particularly cancer therapy and treatment, is expensive.
Yes, it is.
And you mentioned to me that you have a your through your organization, they're helping you and assisting you with your treatment. How can, if people want to help you with your treatment, how can they do so? Give me that information. I'm going to
Okay.
put it on here. I'm going to type it in and share with our audience that's listening to us today.
Okay, so I do have a GoFundMe out there,
Uh-huh.
and it's The Healing Journey Continues. I believe I just sent you the link, Dr. Toni, to the actual GoFundMe. But if you actually look on GoFundMe, you can find The Healing Journey Continues, basically for Sarah Michelle. And then I do have Cash App, Sarah Michelle Speaks, as well as Zelle, Sarah Michelle Speaks at gmail.com. And all of that will be routed because basically all of this, I am clear that although I am in treatment and, I'm on the receiving end, so to speak, for the seeds and the love that is being sent financially, I am clear that this is even helping to shape and mold a message for women across the globe. And so, Dr. Toni, if you don't mind pasting the link that I sent you, just because I don't want it to be
You know
confusing.
what? I don't, but let's see here. You texted to me, right?
Yeah, and I think I sent it. You want me to send it to your inbox?
Yeah, give me a second
No
and let me
worries.
see if I can grab that link and put it in. Did you email it to me?
Yes, I did.
Okay, give me a second. I'm
So
gonna
what it says on GoFundMe is The Healing Journey Continues, and it's Sarah Michelle, right? The
and,
Healing
and
Journey Continues, Sarah Michelle, and you'll know that you're on the correct GoFundMe link is because you'll see me with some pink and white boxing gloves, fight like a girl. And
okay.
so the place Hope for Cancer that I would really like to go to,
Uh-huh.
it is very, very expensive. But I am definitely trusting God. I am believing God. I do believe I am supposed to go. Most people who know me knows that I operate in big faith, big, big, big faith, right? And
Uh-huh.
so even if it looks challenging, that does not make it impossible. Because with God, all things are possible to them that believe. So I'm putting it out there for
Okay.
those who would
Now,
like to.
Sarah, do me a favor. What do you have that on your Facebook page?
What I just said?
Yeah, your GoFundMe link.
Yes, absolutely. And if they go to Sarah Michelle Speaks,
Okay.
there's a Facebook page, Sarah Michelle Speaks.
Oh, okay. You have a Facebook page too, Sarah Michelle.
Sarah Michelle Speaks. Yes, my personal page is Sarah Michelle. My public page is Sarah Michelle Speaks, and it's actually the pinned post. The GoFundMe is the pinned post on the Sarah Michelle Speaks Facebook page.
Okay, so Sarah Michelle Speaks Facebook
Yes,
page also has the GoFundMe link,
yes.
and we want to. I'm going to make a donation because I want to see you live.
Thank you.
You shall live
Yes,
and not die,
yes,
and you shall declare
yes.
the works of the Lord.
I shall.
Sarah Michelle.
Yes, I shall. I shall. And that's even a point of let me if I can just add something to that. It's okay to ask for help,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
It's really okay to ask for help. I had to realize that this is my season not to pour, but it's my season to receive, right? And even in my season of rest and restoration, when God graces me in a moment to share, it is Him that is endowing me with that power for that moment. But it's not because I'm going against the process of healing. It's still working in harmony with my healing journey because what? I'm evolving, I'm growing as I'm healing, right? And you can't help but to give if you're a giver. If you're a giver, you can't help but to give.
yeah.
However, this season is not for me to be in a posture to pour, but in a posture to be healed and to receive. Amen.
Wow. Thank you so much, Sarah. Thank you. Well, we're out of time. I want to be faithful to our time. I try to keep our conversations to about 50 minutes. We're a few minutes over.
I love it.
We're few minutes over, just 54 minutes. We're done in 55 minutes. All right. But thank you again, Sarah Michelle. You
Yes.
have been a blessing. I'm so glad that you were able to come into the podcast studio. I'm so grateful to God for what he's doing in and through you,
Yes.
your healing journey. I appreciate what the Lord is doing. Listen, you all, stay with us all month.
Yes.
We got this month is going to be, I mean, I'm telling you, if you've already heard last week's episode with Tamiko Lowry, this week's episode with Sarah Michelle, you don't want to miss next week and the week after because the Harmonize Your Life podcast in the month of October, I promise you, is going to change your life. Whether you have been a victim of domestic violence or
Yes.
whether you've dealt with breast cancer or any type of sickness, everybody has gone through something, and we are talking to survivors this month. And I believe because you are a survivor, you'll connect with every one of these stories. All right, we'll see you next week on the Harmonize Your Life podcast.
Thank you, Dr. Toni.
Bye-bye. With your host, Dr. Toni G. Alvarado. See
Yes.
you. Hi, this is Dr. Toni Alvarado. I am so delighted about bringing the Harmonize Your Life podcast to you. Would you do me a favor? If you are enjoying this podcast, would you email me at hello@drtonialvarado.com? I want to hear from you. I want your feedback. I want to know if there are any other topics that you are interested in as it relates to wellness, self-care, nutrition, or just overall bringing harmony into your life. Email me, contact me at hello@drtonialvarado.com.